Hi everybody, Zach here, and welcome to the 19th lesson of this RTS tutorial series. In this lesson, we'll be setting up the start of our unit details. The second part of this lesson will be released on Friday. That said, fire up your editor, and I will see you on the other side. So now that we're back in our editor, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our enums folder to create some of the information we need to get our unit details correct. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 new enums. So let's just go ahead, right click, go to enumeration under blueprints. We'll do female names enum. We'll do a male names enum. And finally, we'll add in a surnames enum. So let's open up the female names enum. I'm just going to pin it into that. And in here, I am just going to use some names of friends, family, and some devs. So I'm just going to create 8 slots. The first one will be a dev I work with, Charlotte. Next one will be a family member, another family member, and so forth. You can use whatever names you want for this. Here, I think it would let me type. There we go. Just gonna save that. We're gonna close it out because we don't need it. Next, we will do the male names. I'm just gonna pin that in there, and I'm gonna create 8 new ones here. Remember, I'm stopping at 7 because there's a 0. So I'll use my name. I'll use a member of my dev's team name. Another member of a dev team. My brothers. And just some other names as well. Just gonna. So I got a few of these names from people who watched me do the prep work for this, because I streamed the prep work. Speaking of which, I will be streaming random dev streams via Twitch. The won't usually be prep work for this, it'll just be other projects I'm working on. I'll say more about that towards the end. I'm going to close this out, and then let's just get to our final one, our surnames enum. Again, I'm going to create another 8 here. Again, this can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be anything important. It can be just random things. However, I really wish it would let me easily type. I don't know why it's doing that. Kind of like I'm double clicking. So, just realized something. I knew Rufus was the last name I put in. I took an author's name for that one. Came up on my test file once as a first name. Not sure why. But I was having some issues with that test file originally. Or my prep file just had some issues. So now that I got those names in, what we're then going to do is we're going to go to our unit master. So it's in our units folder, our unit master. And the first thing I am going to do is I am going to create a new function. And this first function I'm going to create will be set unit features. And I'm going to put it in a category. I'm going to do something different with this category. I'm going to type in units, and then I'm going to put in a horizontal slash. What this will do is it will create a layer for this title, and I'm going to name it units master. You see now we have a units layer and then the master down there. So in here, what I'm going to do, just gonna make sure I have the right thing open, is I am going to create I'm going to take the mesh. Oops, sorry, it's not up there. It's over here. This inherited mesh. I'm just going to drag it in here, and I'm going to drag off of it. I'm going to create a dynamic material instance. The reason I am doing this is so that we can change the color of the unit when it spawns in, so we can basically see which units are male, which ones are female fairly easily. I'm going to drag off this return value, promote to a local variable, and this will be mesh material instance local. And next, I am going to then go to, I'm going to right click and I am going to do random integer in range. And it's going to be an integer between 0 and 1. And off of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and I'm going to promote to variable. And I'm just going to plug this into here for now. Just while I'm quickly thinking about it, actually I'm going to delete this for a second. And I'm going to delete that for a second. There's one thing I want to do before we go any further, actually, just so the variables get organized correctly. I'm going to go back into my blueprints folder, and I'm actually going to create a new set of blueprints that will be a structure. So I'm just going to right click, create a new folder. I'm going to name this structures. And in this structure, I am going to create, in this folder, I'm going to create a blueprint structure. So right click, blueprints structure. And this will be RTS underscore unit profile struct. And we will add more things to this later on, but for now we're just going to create a few things. First, I'm going to put in name, which will be of type string. I'm going to add a new variable, and this will be sex, and it will be a integer. I will then do age, which will also be an integer. I will do unit image, which will be a slate brush. There are other things I could actually add in here that will create variables for, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just going to save this. I'm going to close it for now. And then I'm going to go back, of course, into this folder. This is blueprint here. And I'm actually going to quickly create a new variable, which I will call unit profile. And the type RTS unit profile struct. I will then put this in a category that is unit. That upper vertical line again, and it will be master as well. Now I'm going to drag off of, I'm just going to get this all open up for me so I can see everything I need to do. I am going to drag off of this, and I am going to promote to variable, and this will be unit age. I will create a unit, unit, that slash again, and it will be stat. So if we close down that unit, you can see now I have two folders, or two categories under unit. I'm going to plug it into this pin. I just like having the master at top there. That's why I wanted to do it this way. And off of here, I'm going to drag out and do branch. Now, I'm just going to make a quick note to myself, a quick comment on top of this node, that 0 will be male. I'm going to grab a reference to that age, so I'm going to get it. And I want to check, is it equal to, and I'm just going to leave it set to 0. So is it equal to 0, which will represent our male. Sorry about the little bit jump there. I started coughing and I just had to edit out the cough. What this is checking is the gender of our unit, which will be randomly picked from this integer. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my mesh material local, and I'm just going to drag it out here, and I'm going to get. And I'm only going to do one of the branches. We'll do the other branches I copy and paste pretty much. I'm going to drag up, and I'm going to do set vector parameter value. Plug that into the true there. And I need to tell it what particular parameter I want to change. And the parameter of this mesh, the name of it is body color. And I found this through UE documentation. It did take me a bit to find out what that was called. And I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to set the B to 1 and leave everything else as is. So you see a nice little blue color there. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to then create a new function. Because that function will be the next thing here. And that function will be for our unit names. So I'm going to name this get random name. And this will be of type unit. Or units, I guess. Actually, I should be unit. I'm going to, actually, before I go any further, I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to go into, hello default. I'm going to go into here and delete the S off units. because this is a single unit. It's an instance of it. And do unit, and then this one will be details. So in my get random name, again, we're going to have that same sort of setup as before. Just going to create a new parameter here that will be sex. As I mentioned, this will be an integer. We're going to, sorry, I named this age for some reason. This should be unit sex. Okay, let me try that again, and actually get the correct spelling in there. Sorry about that. Just make sure we're still recording, because I'm still paranoid about the F2 thing. I'm just going to control S save. I'm going to drag, I'm not going to drag anything in there. We're going to pass that through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off of here, and I'm going to do an equal, just like we did a second ago, to 0. Remember 0 being male. I'm going to do a branch, and I'm going to plug this into there. So now if we are a male, what we want to do is we want to first right click up here and type in get number of, and then entries in male name enum. I'm going to drag off of here, and I'm going to do minus, and I want integer minus integer. I'm just going to leave this as a 1. And I'm doing this simply because we have not put in the values of the blank value, so we kind of need that. And I'm going to drag off here, get random integer in range. I'm going to move that to the max. And then I'm going to drag off of here, and I'm going to go to byte. From byte, I am going to go to enum. Sorry, I'm going to type in male name. So just make sure that is the male name I got. Yep. So byte enum to male name enum. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, or I'm going to pretty much do the same thing down here, but I'll do that in a minute with the female names. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag off of this, and I am going to promote variable. And it's going to be male name. Male name will be a unit detail, so category will be unit. That vertical line again, and details. This one will be plural. And we're going to do this pretty much 3 times. So let's just do that again. Also, just drag this down there, plug that into the true for now. We'll actually clean this up in a minute. And so I'm going to go down here. I'm going to do get number of entries, female. And just going to copy that to save myself some time. Plug that into there. Could have copied the to byte as well. To byte, I could not have copied the next node, however. And this will be to female name enum. So just type in female if you named it the same way I did, and you'll find it right away. And again, drag off of here. We are going to promote this to a variable. This will be female name. It will also be a unit details. And I'm going to connect this to the false. Next, we are going to do the same bit of code twice. So we're just going to write it once, then copy and paste. But first, let's just clean this up. I'm going to highlight all these pins that are everything but the name over here, and I'm going to right click it. We're going to collapse to macro, which I am going to name set male name, and this will be of type unit details. I do not plan to have this as a layered category like we did with the other ones. Just drag that into there, move that a bit closer, add a reroute in so it's a prettier. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. Highlight all of that, collapse to macro, and this will be set female name. And again, this will be unit details. So I just had to see which ones I want there. And again, I'm just going to neaten that up a tiny bit. Actually, in fact, what I'll do is to make that one straight line. So now we're going to do the surname. And we're pretty much going to do the same thing. So we're just going to right click, get number of entries surname. Drag off of here. Actually, don't drag off there. Hit paste. We still have it in the paste buffer. Plug into there. Return value to byte. Byte to surname enum. And then we are going to promote to variable. And this variable will be surname. And again, this will be of not unit details. What is the issue there? Okay. There we go. I'm not sure what happened there, but okay, yeah. I'm just gonna make sure I haven't spelled details wrong somewhere else, and I don't think I have. So again, I'm going to collapse this down to a macro, which will be set surname. And again, this will be in the same category of unit details. That's what I did. I used that category by accident. Just gonna drag this over here. Bring them a bit closer, sorry. Drag this over here. Gonna duplicate them, because we do need it twice. I'm gonna plug it into here. The reason why we need it twice, if you run it once, it will pass the wrong information through. So when I had it as one thing, both going into there and separating out again for the next bit, I kept getting blank or a max female name enum on a male name, and the female names worked fine, but it just did not work for the male names for some reason. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the information from both of these, from both the male name and the surname, and the female name and the surname as a pair, and I'm going to create a couple of appends for each. And what I want to do is I want to create an append there. I'm going to go to B first, and I'm going to put a space in there, just so there's a space between the two names. I'm going to go from the surname to the C here. It'll automatically convert it. I'm just going to drag this up this way. Again, add a reroute node in so it's a little bit prettier looking. And I'm going to cut across here and plug that into there. So the first name is going into the A, a space in B, and the surname into C. We're going to do the same down here. We are going to create, I'm just going to actually duplicate this because it has a space in that B already, as you can see. Drag down from the C, plug it into there. And I'm just going to move all of this down this way, along with that pen. And I'm going to plug the A into here. Finally, what I need is a return node. So I'm just going to highlight my set random name, and I'm going to put a return node in with one variable, and it's going to be unit name. And that'll be of type string. And I'm just going to drag this over here, line that up with the surname bit there, plug it in. And I'm going to do something I say normally not to do. Simply going to just drag this and plug it into there. I'm going to duplicate this node, plug that into there, and I'm just going to bring that down here, bring that there, and plug this set surname into there. Going to very quickly compile and save it. Go back to set unit features, and in set unit features, like I said, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to drag in that random name, put it there, plug that into there. The target itself, it's a particular instance of the mesh that's spawned in. I'm going to grab the unit sex, and I'm going to pass it into there. From here, I am going to drag off, and I am now actually going to set my unit name. So this will be unit name, and unit name will also be a... Well, we are going to have a unit set, by the way, but it's not this. This should be a unit detail. So unit details. This will also be a unit's details. By the way, age, when we get to actual unit age, will be a stat. So we have unit name. Now we're going to get to unit detail age, oddly enough. I'm going to right-click, do random integer. I guess I'll start integer correctly. Random integer in range. And the range will be, just to make my life easier, 18 to 70. Going to drag up off of here, and I'm going to promote to variable, and this will be unit age. Plug that straight into there. And my unit age, as I've already mentioned, will be my unit stats, which is gone. So I have to redo that unit. And then stats. We'll have more stats later on. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to create a new variable, which will be I'm just going to create it here actually, and this will be a unit image, and the folder for this will be unit line again, and then we will do legend, because this will only really matter inside of the HUD remake. And we're actually not going to set this in this episode. You know, the pictures are there for you to set them now if you want, and you can play with it, but we're going to set it in the next episode. So we're just going to leave it blank for now, which is perfectly fine. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy all of this, and I'm going to paste it down here, and I'm going to plug in the false as well. So the way this works is when it comes to here, the name, that's the only major difference between these. That and that node I just tried to move a bit. And in color, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here for a second, and I'm going to see the color. I use my test file real quick. I'm going to just open this up, and I'm going to get a sort of pinkish color. So I'm going to set this to 0.45. I'm going to then set this to 0.007. And finally, I'm going to set my blue to 0.4. Going to hit OK. And next, the final little bit for this. This is not lined up evenly. There we go. Still not perfect. Now it is. I am going to grab my unit profile. We're going to just drag it into there, and we're going to set. I'm going to right-click this pin, and I'm going to split pin structure. And I'm just going to start plugging in the variables into there. So name into name, unit sex into unit sex, unit age into unit age. Where is it? It's down here now. And then we will worry about the image later on. I'm just going to highlight all of that and duplicate it down here. And I'm going to plug it into there. Finally, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that back up, compile and save. I'm going to close out the get name, going to close out the set name features. Going to then make it so that the actual details are created as we need them. So what we're going to do, just going to very quickly close these out, or minimize these because we don't need these. Ooh, what's going on there? Why aren't you actually lined up correct? This isn't stats, it's unit stats. There we go. Just going to close the unit for a second there. Going to create a new variable. Let me just close the components as well. And this will be is spawned in. This will be a type boolean. Going to compile so I can set the default as true. Compile again and save. And in the construction script, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to drag off of here. I'm going to do branch. And as I do this, I just want to make sure I have not actually made a mistake. I have not. So what we'll do here is we will plug our is spawned in. So when it spawns in, it will check this and it will say, yep, it's been spawned in, because that's how we're currently set up. And we will do set unit features off the true. Going to compile and save. Now, I'm also going to go to my event graph. And in my event graph, I am going to do a... So I just want to make sure I delete everything. I should just check the event graph. Event on begin. Actually, I'm just going to type in begin play. There we go. And then off of here, I'm going to do a sequence. And on this sequence, I'm going to add another pin. We're not going to do the first pin this episode. We'll start on 1 and 2. I'm going to do this branch again. So I'm just going to drag that out. I'm going to do branch. And I'm going to plug it into here. And off the false, I'm going to do the set unit features. This will be for our starting units, the ones that we don't spawn in by construction or by using our little cheat key. So now that I've done that, now that I've plugged this in, I'm just going to make sure it works. I'm going to compile and save. And I'm going to go back here. And I'm just going to very quickly hit play. And I am going to make sure this works by spawning in a random unit. There we go. Got another one. And we can see what their names are by actually going back to our unit master and select our debug. So one should be a female. If we go there and go to our set unit features, we should see unit age is 1 or sex is 1. We saw the color. The name of our unit is Sue Davis. So that should have all passed through there. Let's do the same for the master for unit master 1, which should be our male. So we should see a 0. We should then see a unit name of Ben Smith. Alright, everything there seems to be lined up correctly. So now that I've done that, I'm just going to end the play test. I'm going to save, Control S save just to make sure. And now that we've done that, well, we are done with this lesson. In the next lesson, we will set more of our unit details, because we have another set of that to do. And we'll move from there. And as always, if you appreciate this content and you like this video and the tutorial, please leave a like. It helps get this channel out there. It helps me know that I'm bringing you content you appreciate as well. And if you want to see anything in this series, as always, comment, talk to me. As you've seen, I respond to people, I take aboard what they say, and I bring it into these lessons. I do pre-record a lot, but I do also pre-record after I've talked to people about what they want to see in these lessons, or after people have talked to me. And make sure to hit that subscribe and notify icon so you know when the next tutorial is out. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial and hope that you have a wonderful day.